Hello there, I'm Xenoblade Hero, and today I'll be showing you this match against a very well-known trainer, Pokemon player named Baz Anderson. You'll know him as Baz, and I battled him in a Qualifier, Lincoln event qualifier, which was for the autumn event, which is run by Nintendo UK, and the grand finals are later this month. And in Swiss, I think at this point I was 3-0. I battled some quite good players, and I'll probably show you some more matches after this one, but this is the one I want to get up. This was definitely a big match for me, and Baz, he's a very well-known player. He's been to Worlds before, and also he played and won the Nugget Bridge Invitational, which is quite a prolific event. Now, I'd say this match, he was using the same team he was using for a lot of the tournaments he went to. Mainly I know he explained about using it throughout his VGC this year, and he also used it in the Invitational as well. I think this was the exact team from his Invitational, and I did have some knowledge of this, so this gave me a bit of an advantage in this battle. Although he did say before the battle he knew who I was, and he also possibly knew about my team. I think I faced a similar team to his before on the showdown ladder, and I wonder if that was actually him. But either way, as you can see here, I led this match with my Kangaskhan and Rotom. I'll tell you a bit more about my team when I've finished the entire event and I finished the finals. So I won't go into too much detail about the EV spreads here, but you'll possibly be able to see why they came in useful here. And I felt like against his team, Kangaskhan and Rotom H was quite a good lead, mainly because he had an Azumarill, and I was very worried about him using Fake Out and getting the first turn Valley Drum. And with Kangaskhan, I had an Inner Focus variant, which some people did criticise me over, and understandably so, because Scrappy is seen as a very useful ability with Fake Out and his very powerful normal type stab. But I didn't see the need for Fake Out. I much preferred Protect, and I also had enough room to run Crunch, which I thought was good manipulation around things like Egg Slash that might feel safe about staying in and using a substitute against a Kangaskhan. But anyway, I'll continue this match, and I definitely over-prepared for an Azumarill lead, which strangely he didn't lead with. He led with the Raichu, which I suspected he would, but he also led with Talonflame. Now, this is actually quite a good matchup for me, except for the fact that Rotom H can't directly Thunderbolt that Talonflame. Instead, I'll have to deal with the Raichu first, or use the Kangaskhan to deal with the Talonflame before I can get a hit on it. Now, the Talonflame instantly uses Protect, and this definitely catches me off guard. I thought he was just going to go for the Fake Out and attack with the Talonflame, whilst in full knowledge that Lightning Rod will kick in if I tried to attack that Talonflame, and Overheat wouldn't do an awful lot. So Protect here was a very good play, and he definitely took advantage of my I think over things very logically when I battle, and I thought that he would want to attack with his Talonflame while he had a chance, but I suppose he saw the Kangaskhan as very threatening, and he plays this turn brilliantly, as you'll see. Straight flat Protect, and the Raichu does not Fake Out, it goes straight for the Thunderbolt on my Kangaskhan. I'm not sure if this was a call that I had in a focus, I doubt it was, but he probably just wanted the chip damage, so next turn he could KO me with both his Talonflame and his Raichu. I did manage to see this by the end of the turn, which was very useful information. But as I take that fairly well, I go for the return on his Talonflame, and I will-o-wisp the Raichu here. I wasn't entirely sure if he would stay in and if he would switch to his Tyranitar or something, but I think this was me thinking too much about it, and he obviously thought that my Kangaskhan would possibly have Power Up Punch. I'm not sure. But either way, he didn't think it was a position for him to switch to Tyranitar in or any other switching. I went with the safe Will-O-Wisp, and for most Raichus this would have been useful because they would have had a Sash, for example, but I know his was a Safety Goggles variant, so this wasn't actually too useful in the grand scheme of things, and I could have got a free KO here if I really wanted to. But either way, I Mega Evolve the next turn because I feel there's not much point staying in a focus mode, and I may as well get a bit of a buff on my attacks if I need it. Now here I Protect, which I kind of saw, as I mentioned last turn, he would possibly double target my Kangaskhan and get rid of it while he can. Now I feel I definitely needed to protect him because I was in a very dangerous position with him, whereas my what am I on about? My Rotom was in a much better position than my Kangaskhan was, and he doubles into that slot to try and take it out while he can, whilst I go for the overheat on his Raichu, which was actually quite a good play on my part if I do say so myself. Taking out his Raichu here puts me 4-3 up, and he's has to think about what he sends in next. He sends out his Tyranitar, which I know is a Mega variant, with the knowledge I know about his team, so it wasn't scarfed or anything. He wouldn't pull off any nasty surprises on me, and odds are I have quite a speedy Rotom, so I'll outspeed his Tyranitar the first turn for sure. Now he Mega Evolves here, and let's see what he does. I actually can't remember what he does here with his Tyranitar. He protects with his Talonflame because it's obviously quite a large target for both my Pokemon here, which I think is definitely a good thing to do. But I want to Will-O-Wisp that Tyranitar because my team, as some of you may know, struggles quite a bit with Tyranitars. So I knew what variant it was, so I instantly try and get the Will-O-Wisp on it, whilst I still go for a safe return on the Talonflame slot because I know I can take a Life or Brave Bird from that range. The Will-O-Wisp is successful, and that helps me a lot in next few turns, as you'll see. He goes straight for a Dragon Dance, which is good because it gives him the speed advantage now, and he's definitely in the driving seat in terms of momentum. However, the burn definitely means he's dealing a lot less damage. However, he is definitely outspeeding my Kangaskhan now, and he's able to Rock Slide me. Another thing you need to consider is that I do not have Power Up Punch at the moment, which actually makes my position a little bit more dangerous here, because he could double whatever Pokemon he wants at this current time. Rotom may be able to survive a Rock Slide and a Brave Bird combo, but Kangaskhan definitely can't, and I need to be careful here. I think what he does now is a very nice defensive play, and switches his Talonflame into the Aegislash. This was a very nice call, as I had to really go for the return. And now Tyranitar is in a very it's in a less more manageable position, so I switch in my Gardevoir here, I guess because I thought that my Thunderbolt wouldn't really be KOing the Talonflame, and I didn't think he would actually switch in the Aegislash right now, but it was a very good call for him to switch in that Aegislash. Tracing the Sandstream is marginally useless, but he goes for the Rock Slide here, which will deal a decent chunk to my Kangaskhan. He'll probably manage to finish me off with chip damage, and I get the flinch, which actually didn't matter because I was returning into that slot anyway, which was possibly a bad move, because he could probably have two-shot me anyway there. Now, I can safely say at this point, we're not all playing the best we can. I mean, earlier on Baz could have taken advantage of having my lead as it was, the Kangaskhan and Rotom, but perhaps he was thinking a little bit more defensive minded, which I wouldn't blame him for. But now I do a really bad misplay here, and he protects his Tyranitar. I keep forgetting that people don't know that I have a choice scarf on my Gardevoir. As far as they're aware, I could have a choice specs, and I could cleanly one-shot that Tyranitar. But I go for the double target because I knew that would have KO'd Tyranitar. The Sucker Punch and the Moonblast would have KO'd that, especially because it was a Dragon Dance variant and more invested in speed. But what I've done here is a very bad play of giving his Aegislash a free attack. Now, there are other ways I can deal with that Tyranitar, but it will now be more time consuming and I'll have to whittle it down. So there's my Gardevoir out of the picture. Of course I do have Crunch here, and it would have probably been convenient to use it before, but I don't know, activating that weakness policy on it, which I know about, could have put me in a more dangerous position right now with my Ferrothorn, as his Tyranitar could probably have crunched me to death, and he could have Shadow Ball for a very heavy chunk of damage, so I think it was better not to activate that weakness policy. goes in stance change, and makes a very defensive play. What I do here is I double that Ega Slash because I was expecting it to substitute that turn. I'm not sure if he actually had substitute by the way he was playing throughout this match, but I knew that a crunch would definitely KO that, and a gyro ball afterwards was pretty safe. If it gets KO'd or doesn't, a gyro ball is very safe on the right slot, because I believe, yeah, it does about half damage to Talonflame, which I suspected it would. And now his Talonflame isn't in the greatest positions. However, his momentum is in the driving seat now, and he suspects I'm going to sucker punch that Talonflame by his play here, and goes for the protect, which is actually a really good call. But I can do nothing but sucker punch that, because I do not want to take a Flare Blitz from it, simply put. And he manages to KO now, my Kangaskhan, which has stood in for a long time, but I didn't need it as much at this point. I have other ways of dealing with that Talonflame. I just wanted to try and get a KO from it, I guess, but I guess it could have been seen as a waste for Kangaskhan there. But I don't know, that's just an opinion. I'll go for the Leech Seed here on the Egg Slash, and this turns out to be a very fightable player in the next couple of turns. You'll see the amount of damage it manages to rack up over time. Sandstorm stops here, and this stops more chip damage going onto that Talonflame. However, I can deal with it with my Rotom H right now, so that's pretty easy switching for me, the Rotom H, because it threatens both the Pokemon on the field. Now I protect and go for the Thunderbolt on the Talonflame, I believe. I'll be able to take any of the Egg Slash's attacks for this turn. And if Tyranitar switches in, it still won't appreciate taking any damage. Remember, Baz protected last turn, so it would be very risky to protect again. He goes for the Flare Blitz on the Ferrothorn, which he knows is my win condition at this current moment in time. And not much else on his team can put a very heavy dent in it, especially not with a burned Tyranitar. He goes for the Shadow Ball on my Rotom here, which manages to do a decent chunk. I do survive it, but I managed to do a decent chunk. What happens this turn is, you saw earlier in the match I managed to outspeed a non-boosted Tyranitar with my Rotom. Now I forgot here that the speed tier changes on the Mega Tyranitar. But this comes into account next turn. Sorry, I thought he Rock Slided there. But he goes for the Protect on that turn, as I go for the safe Gyro Ball on the Tyranitar and Overheat on that Ega Slash. What you needed to know here was that I thought I was outspeeding that Tyranitar, which was completely untrue. Mainly because I saw earlier in the match that I was outspeeding it. But obviously the Mega Forms completely changed their base stats. And now that Egg Slash has been chipped a fair bit, so I know that mainly taking out, stopping them from double targeting me will be quite important, because I suspected he was going to go for a crunch here. Even if I did think he was going to Rock Slide and carry my Rotom H, I thought it would be better to attack the Tyranitar and oh no, I thought it would be better, to attack the Egg Slash in case he went for a crunch play and I wanted to protect. But he could try and get a flinch for a Rock Slide, and he could also carry my Rotom H at the same time. And remember, he outspeeds here. I did not think he would outspeed, so that was perhaps not the best play on my part at all. But I do manage to carry his Tyranitar at this turn with a Gyro Ball, and I know that I do win the match against this Ega Slash because of the Leech Seed that I set up earlier on it. By this point, I did think that he still had Substitute on him somehow, and this next play definitely bears that in mind, because I suspected for some reason he would have gone for the Substitute, which makes no sense. After all, he's been Leech Seeded, and the damage would stack up too much. So I went for a Gyro Ball here instead of the Protect. If I protected, I would have turned Shadow Ball into a 3-hit KO, but here I turn it into a 2-hit KO, and this puts me in a really bad position. As you can see, he'll KO me with the Shadow Ball even if I protect the next turn, but I hit the Gyro Ball here and I get a critical hit, so you could kind of say I was let out easily of that situation where I could have easily been punished for that. And now all I need to do is protect for the victory here. So I want to say, if you're watching this, Baz, or anyone who knows Baz, thank you for the brilliant game, and I'm really sorry that it was perhaps a bit anticlimactic, the finish there. I hate protecting people to victory like that, and I mean, it's not the best play. It's not the best play to do. It doesn't look really great, but I still want to thank you for the match that we had. And obviously after this, I went undefeated in the tournament, and I can safely say that was one of the best matches I've played like in a while. And thank you very much everyone for watching this match, and hopefully I'll be uploading a couple more matches from the same tournament, so look forward to them, and I'll see you next time, guys. Thank you very much for watching.